28th December 2022. Lesson 4, 28th December 2022. Which will exist, the Western or Islamic civilization? Which will exist, the Western or Islamic civilization, by ex-Brigadier Mustansir Billah. Before we start with this lesson, as a matter of interest, I'll just go through one of my Urdu poems, one of my poems written in Urdu. कौन बनेगा करोड़पति कौन बनेगा करोड़पति कौन बनेगा करोड़पति जनाब पहले हमें माने उस्ताद कौन बनेगा करोड़पति जनाब पहले हमें माने उस्ताद ख़त्म हो जब जुम्मा नमाज न उठे जगह से न करे बात ख़त्म हो जब जुम्मा नमाज न उठे जगह से न करे बात दरूद इब्राहिमी पढ़े 300 बार दरूद इब्राहिमी पढ़े 300 बार एक करोड़पति ने मुझे ये वजीफ़ा दिया था एक करोड़पति ने मुझे ये वजीफ़ा दिया था मैंने भी इसे पूरा किया था मैंने भी इसे पूरा किया था तो मेरी ज़कात हो गई थी 8 लाख तो मेरी ज़कात सिर्फ ज़कात हो गई थी 8 लाख और ये है 1994 की बात और ये है 1994 की बात लेकिन ना हो हमारा जो लाहे जैसा हाल लेकिन ना हो हमारा जो लाहे जैसा हाल जो लाहे ने पढ़े 2 नफल और करने लगा वही का इंतज़ार जो लाहे ने पढ़े 2 नफल और करने लगा वही का इंतज़ार. That's all as far as the poem is concerned. Now we start with the lesson, which will exist, the Western or Islamic civilization. Today, we shall cover identification and rise of societies. Today, we shall cover identification and rise of societies in lesson 4 today. Toynbee gives detailed account of civilizations that have come into to exist in this world. Very briefly, those are listed. 1. Egyptian civilization. It originated in the Nile River Valley before 4000 BC. Egyptian civilization. 2. Indian civilization in the Pacific coast of South America. 3. Cynic civilization originated in the lower valley of the Yellow River in 1500 BC. 4. Minoan society in the islands in the Aegean Sea area of the Mediterranean Sea between Greece and Turkey, originated in 3000 BC. 4. Sumeric civilization originated in the lower Tigris and Euphrates valleys before 3500 BC, that is in the general area of Iraq, before 3500 BC. 6th, Mayan society in 500 BC, generally in area of Mexico. 7th, Yucatek, Mexico, both affiliated to the Mayan in the Yucatec Peninsula after 629 AD. 8th, also as above. 9. Hittite society This just it beyond it originated in Cappadocia, just beyond Sumeric frontiers before 1500 BC, that is general area north of Syria. 10th, the Syriac society originated in Syria before 1100 BC. Before 1100 BC. 11, Babylonic society. This society originated in Iraq before 1500 BC. Originated in Iraq before 1500 BC. Then we have the Arabic, Iranic, Islamic civilization. It came into existence in 1516 AD, according to Toynbee, and affiliated to the Syriac society. It originated in Anatolia, Iran, Oxus, before AD 1300. Originated in Anatolia, Iran, Oxus, before AD 1300. Arabic society originated in Arabia, Iraq, Syria, North Africa before AD 1300. Before AD 1300. 13th society was also a repetition. 14th, Far Eastern main body. Far Eastern main body. This is affiliated to the Cynic with an offshoot in Japan, originated in China before 500 AD. Before 500 AD. 15th, Far Eastern Japanese offshoot. 16th, Indic society. It originated in Indus and Ganges valleys in 1500 BC. Originated in Indus and Ganges valleys in 1500 BC. 17th, Hindu society originated in northern India. Originated in northern India before 800 AD. Before 800 AD. 18th, Hellenic society originated in the coast and islands of the Aegean before 1100 BC. Originated in the coast and islands of the Aegean before 1100 BC. 19, Orthodox Christian main body. This originated before in AD 700 in Anatolia. Originated before AD 700 in Anatolia. Final rupture with the Western society in 11th century. 20th, Orthodox Christian Russian offshoot. Orthodox Christian Russian offshoot. This is an offshoot of the main body of the Orthodox Christian, originated in Russia in the 10th century AD. Last 21st and the last society, Western Christendom, affiliated to the Hellenic society, originated in Western Europe before 700 AD. The Western Christendom society civilization originated in Western Europe before 700 AD. Toynbee states that of these 21 civilizations, 16 are now dead and exist no more, and the five named earlier continue. Now the next question, as to how do they grow and come into existence, as to how the civilizations, societies grow and come into existence. Of these 21 civilization societies, 15 are affiliated to previous civilizations. 15 are affiliated to previous civilizations, but 6 emerged from primitive life. But 6 emerged from primitive life. Of the 6 societies which came into existence from the primitive life, he takes the example of the Egyptiac civilization, and sees as to how it came into existence. He writes, Before the dawn of civilization, the Afro-Asian steppe, the Sahara, and the Arabian desert was well-watered grassland. Subsequently, prolonged and progressive desiccation of this grassland presented its inhabitants with a challenge, to which they responded in various ways. Some stood their ground and changed their habits. Some stood their ground and changed their habits, thus evolving the nomadic manner of life. Thus evolving the nomadic manner of life. Others shifted their ground southwards. Others shifted their ground southwards, following the retreating grassland, following the retreating grassland to the tropics, and thus preserved their primitive way of life, and thus preserved their primitive way of life, which they are still living today. Others entered the marshes and jungles of the Nile Delta. Others entered the marshes and jungles of the Nile Delta and, faced with the challenge it presented, set to work to drain it, and they evolved the Egyptiac civilization. The Sumeric civilization originated in the same way and from the same causes in the Tigris Euphrates Delta, Iraq. In the Tigris Euphrates Delta, Iraq, the Sumeric civilization. The Cynic civilization originated in the Yellow River Valley, China. The nature of the challenge which started it is unknown, but it is clear that the conditions were severe rather than easy. The Mayan civilization originated from the challenge of a tropical forest. The Indian from that of a bleak plateau, the Pacific coast of South America. The Minoan civilization originated from the challenge of the sea. The Minoan civilization originated from the challenge of the sea. Its founders were refugees from the desiccating coasts of Africa who took to the water and settled in and other Crete and other Asian islands. They did not, in the first instance, come from the nearer mainlands of Asia or Europe. Toynbee holds that in the cases of the affiliated civilizations, the challenge that brought them into existence must have come primarily not from geographical factors, but from their human environment, not from the geographical factors, but from their human environment, that is, from the dominant minorities of the societies, that is, from the dominant minorities of the societies to which they are affiliated. A dominant minority is by definition a ruling class that has ceased to lead and has become oppressive. A dominant minority is by definition a ruling class that has ceased to lead and has become oppressive. To this challenge, the internal and external proletariats of the failing civilization respond by seceding from it, and thereby laying the foundation of a new civilization, and thereby laying the foundation of another civilization. The next question Toynbee answers is, having come into existence, how do societies grow and expand? The next question Toynbee answers is, having come into existence, how do the societies, civilizations grow and expand? Is it to be measured in society's external control of the external environment? Such increasing control can be of two kinds. Such increasing control can be of two kinds: geographic expansion, that is, capturing of neighboring territories, and improvement in material techniques, technology. Capturing of neighbor technologies and territories and improvement in material techniques, technology, two ways. He gives many examples to show that these two are not satisfactory criteria of growth, that these two are not satisfactory criteria of growth. A society may be expanding with military conquests but declining otherwise. A society may be expanding with military conquests but declining otherwise. Similarly, techniques, that is, technology, may well be improving at a time when real civilization is declining, and vice versa. Similarly, technology may well be improving at a time when the real civilization is declining, and vice versa. Tonby says, actually, growth of societies is related to response to challenges which become internal rather than external. They may be external originally. Tonby says, actually, growth of societies is related to response to challenges which become internal rather than external. They may be external originally, and spiritual rather than material, and challenges, spiritual challenges rather than material challenges. He writes that two traditional views are current as to the relation of society to the individual. He writes that two traditional views are current as to the relation of society to the individual. One, that society is nothing but simply an aggregate of atomic individuals. That is, individuals are everything. One, that society is nothing but simply an aggregate of atomic individuals. That is, individuals are everything. And the other view regards the society as an organism and the individuals as parts of it. And the other view regards the society as an organism and the individuals as part of it, inconceivable except as members or cells of the society to which they belong. That is, individuals have very little significance. That is, individuals have very little significance. Both these views couldn't hold the historical tests and proved to be unsatisfactory. The correct view is that a society is a system of relations between individuals. The correct view is that a society is a system of relations between individuals. Human beings cannot be themselves without interacting with their fellows. Human beings cannot be themselves without interacting with their fellows, and a society is a field of action common to a number of human beings, and the society is a field of action common to a number of human beings. But the source of action is the individuals. But the source of action is in the individuals. All growth originates with creative individuals or small minorities of individuals. All growth originates from creative individuals or small minorities of individuals, and the task is twofold. First, the achievement of their inspiration or discovery, whatever it may be. First task, the achievement of the inspiration or discovery, whatever it may be. And second, the conversion of the society to which they belong to this new way of life. And second, the conversion of the society to which they belong to this new way of life. This conversion could theoretically come about in one or other of two ways. either by the mass undertaking the actual experience, which has transformed the creative individuals. One as the mass taking the actual experience, which is facing undergoing the actual experience, which has transformed the creative individuals, or by their imitation of the externals, in other words, by mimesis, or by their imitation of the externals, in other words, by mimesis. In practice, the latter, that is, the mimesis, imitation of the externals, of the few individuals, imitation of religion, imitation of values, rituals, customs, traditions is the only alternative open. This is imitation of the externals, in other words, by mimesis. In practice, the latter, that is, the mimesis, is imitation of the externals, imitation of religion, values, rituals, customs, traditions, etc., is the only alternative open in the case of all but a small minority of mankind. Mimesis is a shortcut, but is a route in which the rank and file and mass can follow the leaders. I repeat, mimesis is a shortcut, but is a route by which the rank and file and mass can follow the leaders. The mimesis of these few individuals or minority are quickly picked and followed by the internal and external proletariats of the declining society. In this study, Toynbee uses the term proletariats to mean any social element or group which is in some way is in but not of any given society, which in some way is in but not of any given society at any period of that society's history. Thus, according to Toynbee, the definition of proletariat is psychological. Thus, according to Toynbee, the definition of proletariat is psychological. That is, those who feel that they no longer belong spiritually to the society within which they find themselves included physically. That is, they no longer belong spiritually. They feel to the society within which they find themselves included physically. So, the faster and wider this process of mimesis expands, the faster and larger the new society civilization grows. Toynbee then quotes as examples individuals whose mimesis were quickly followed. Toynbee then quotes as examples individuals whose mimesis were quickly followed and names Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Saint Paul, Saint Benedict, Saint Gregory, the Buddha, Machiavelli, and Dante. He writes that there are certain causes also which contribute to the growth of civilizations. Harder countries have much brilliant record as originator of civilizations, for example, Yellow River, Nile Delta. We also find that virgin soil produces more vigorous responses than land which has already been broken in and thus rendered easier by previous occupants. Also, examples from all civilizations show that a sudden crushing defeat is apt to stimulate the defeated party to set its house in order and prepare to make a victorious response. And prepare to make a victorious response. Various examples also show that people occupying frontier positions exposed to constant attack achieve a more brilliant development than their neighbors in more sheltered positions. That's all for today. Inshallah, Allah be willing, we shall continue tomorrow and we shall cover the breakdown of civilizations by grace of Allah. In the next lesson tomorrow, we shall cover the breakdown of civilizations. Jazakallah. Please pray for me, ex-brigadier Mustansir Billah.